Okay.
Yeah.
What was probably one of the most difficult scenes fighting-wise that you guys had?
Fighting-wise, the scene where they all circled us.
Okay.
Because it was in the middle of August, and that is an old abandoned warehouse, and it was like 105.
Yeah.
And that was just outside of the building. So inside, we're like cooking like some roast turkeys.
That's, yeah.
And the part where I do like the spinny kick to finish the guy, they asked me, I was like, I want to do this kick. And they're like, okay, how many takes you want to do? I'm like, I probably got like 3 in me. I lied. I had like one. From each angle, because, they were like, you got 3, right? And I was like, yeah, so we did 1. Boom, look at it. Cool, let's do it from the other side. Do it another again. Boom, cool, let's get it done. I was not about to stay out there longer than I had to.
Now this is a question for David real quick. Did you set that up?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I just wasn't paying attention, so I just want to make sure.
Not to mention the birds shitting on us the whole time.
Oh yeah, there was bird crap all over the floor. We got tested that way.
Yeah, every take we had to wipe them down because we're all wearing black. So every time they hit the ground, they get dirty, and so we went through a whole stack of wipes. We have to wipe them all down and start again.
That was
Very
awesome.
taxing.
No, that was probably the most miserable day, and that was also my first shooting day of the movie. So I was like, this is not about to be a fun ride.
So what films influenced you? 'Cause I can guess. I mean, there's Chuck Norris all over it.
I saw
Under Siege. I'm feeling several homages, I guess.
Definitely 80s, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was the 80s. He wrote the story, so we kind of mixed it together.
Okay.
Like, in terms of when I wrote it, I grew up on like the cheesy 90s action movies. Back in the day when it was like the only requirement to be in a karate movie was no karate.
Right.
Those are the movies I grew up with, and so I wanted to bring those back. And so, yeah, a lot of Chuck Norris, Van Damme, a lot of countless other people you've probably never heard of. Scott Adkins he's my number 1 right now.
Okay.
So if he sees this and wants to, contact me, I won't be mad.
You won't say that.
No, absolutely, I will make the time.
David, what was probably, as a director's point of view, did you have any hiccups you felt like where it just wasn't the style you were wanting or things like that?
Not really. I feel like it was pretty spot on of what I was going for the whole time. Maybe the last day of shooting, my back was starting to give out. I did handhold the camera quite a bit, and future reference, get a gimbal, something that'll hold it for me. Yeah. 12 hours of shooting. Now I'm telling you, my back. I was like, you can ask them. They were discussing a scene. Now I'm going, I'm going to sit down. Tell me you're ready.
You would be like, y'all talking out, I'll be over here.
Yeah.
When you're ready.
I'll be in my trailer.
Trailers were a little bit out of. I'll be on the not so dirty part of the floor.
Right next to me.
Yeah.
Do you have any cast questions about maybe acting? I don't know. Was there any difficult scenes because now you did a cameo in it. I know. Yeah, so that's always fun. And that's something I just learned. So every time you guys do a project together, you do like a cameo.
Yes.
I love that.
I try to at least cameo in most, and at least if we making something, I'll cameo.
I love that.
Even in the Skin Circuit short, like he's not in it per se, but his voice is in there.
Yeah.
So now, of course, you guys are all cast. So was there any acting scenes that you guys really had to maybe get into a certain character or do some, maybe scene studies beforehand?
Well, y'all know me, so I'm very, very goofy.
I felt like there was a lot of Braden scenes in there.
Oh, trust me, I had to add some Bradenisms in there, and so.
Did that turn out the way you wanted?
Yeah, did that go the way you thought it would? That's one of my favorite sayings.
How many times you heard that in your life?
A lot. But I mean. In terms of characters, like trying to like get into character, like I said, y'all know me as like being goofy and stuff like that. So like the serious scenes were like really hard for me to keep a straight face.
My finger chewing him out.
do it.
You just trim Blake out.
Oh, that one, yeah, that one. I was actually pretty happy with how that turned out, but we had to do so many takes because I kept grinning in the middle of it. Because
If we take up the bloodshed, can we give Richie some real pants?
yeah. Listen, well, the thing is on the first day of shooting, he ripped his combat pants, and we told him to bring a replacement. We're not going to talk about that. So we told him to bring a replacement pair of pants, and he's like, yeah, I got some, and he shows up with sweatpants, and I was like,
Well, now that the project's done and you saw it up there on the screen, what would you have done differently, if anything?
I would have made some of the fights longer. Because when you're shooting them, they feel like... But when you're shooting fight scenes, like they take a lot of time. So when you're shooting them, you feel like, man, this is gonna be an extra long fight scene. Then you start wrapping this up, and then you edit it together, and you got like 15 seconds, and you're like, maybe we should have done a little bit more. So
There's at least 30 seconds of him dead, right?
So, but that's probably the only thing I would have done differently is I would have made the fights longer. But I'm an action guy, so.
Really? Just comedy.
Newsflash.
Yeah, working with Braden on a fight scene one day, I think it took us, 5 hours of constantly rehearsing everything just to get that 3 minute of skin scissor.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, that was a whole nother monster. But for real though, props to Leo over here because he died so many times in this movie, and he took every one of them like a champ. He was always gung-ho about it. I've done so many fights with him in the movies and everything. And a couple weeks ago, we actually had another fight scene, and they were worried about, okay, because I wanted to kick somebody, and they're like, well, there's glass here. And I was like, well, let's have Leo do it, because I trust him to take my kick and know where he's supposed to go. So if I have a choice, I'm bringing him like anything I do as a stunt guy, whatever, because I enjoy fighting with him. Yes.
So in the future, do you think you'll do more comedic type things also?
I've been told I should.
Yes.
I don't know.
You can do dancing. I have videos of you when you're little baby.
Can we get access to those to put on my Cast Yes website? Okay. I gotta have those.
Can we change this headshot for a week?
Yes.
Choreographed and stuff, license to it.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
I would say probably Blake and Ethics fight at the end and Ryan Rodriguez.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
He asked who what was the longest fight
The
that we
longest
choreographed.
choreographed
Okay.
and worked through.
Because we didn't really have a lot of rehearsal time, so a lot of it was us figuring out what we're going to do, practice it a couple times, and shoot it.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying if we would have had more time to prepare, that's why I was saying I would probably make the fights longer.
Mr. Rodriguez going into the wall, that drywall breaking, really happened.
I saw that. I was like, I remember being told this actually happened.
Yeah, we were actually shooting at that same warehouse a couple weeks ago, and anytime we had somebody come up like, hey, you see that up there?
Well, wasn't there another hole that was recently created there? I remember seeing a picture.
For legal reasons, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
So what style of martial arts was that, and what style do you learn with it?
Well, that is what we call movie foo. I myself, I'm a 3rd degree black belt in Shotokan Karate.
Okay.
And so I've dabbled in and out of about 5-6 different styles throughout my martial arts career per se. But that's where my bread and butter is. So that's, basically what you see me do in the movies, that's something either I saw in a movie is like, I can do that, I want to do it. Or it's something that, I think would look cool, so I'll do it.
Right.
But in terms of like my actual martial arts background, yeah.
Okay. So that wasn't a style of official martial arts. It was
No, I wouldn't say that I was, like I didn't go into the fight scenes thinking, okay, I'm going to do this set of moves from, well there is an exception at the very beginning where I'm in the yard and I'm doing that.
Yeah.
That's an actual form in my style. It's called Ekyo. So I was doing that. And that's a little a little homage to my instructor, so whenever he sees the movie, he'll be able to see it. He'll be like, I see.
That's good.
And Master Cruz, who you saw the tribute of him. Temre is wearing his vest throughout the movie. I'm wearing a shirt. The scene where me and her talking in the middle of the night after I'm punching the bag and stuff.
Right.
I'm wearing a shirt from his Taekwondo school. So we threw those little homages in there to him.
Now, question for all four of you guys. Was there any behind the scenes moments that kind of stuck out to you, whether it was funny or just enjoyable?
Ah, man, there was so many.
I bet. So I'm gonna have David maybe answer that and then someone else, and then we'll get to Braden, because otherwise we'll forget what we're talking about. We'll forget to
Truer words were never spoken.
I wouldn't say that was one of the enjoyable, but I remember when she stepped on a nail
Oh, yes.
at that same warehouse with Burton on it.
Oh,
Yes.
my goodness.
Hence why I said test. Can you say tetanus shot?
Yeah, that's not really enjoyable.
That's not really enjoyable, but
And
it's
I don't need to
memorable. Yeah.
Like it was yesterday.
I don't mean this to sound bad, but I completely forgot that happened.
She said, I didn't.
No.
How about you, for you two?
Yeah.
Did you guys have any moments that really stuck out behind the scenes?
She's talking about.
Yeah.
Me and Leo?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, just me laughing at him getting hurt all the time.
I always like getting those videos. I do the same thing.
I just have to fall so good. I make you fall again.
Well, it's always fun to try to be creative and make every fall different, so you're not, but making sure you don't hurt yourself when you do it.
And here's the thing about fight scenes and stuff, because I've been in other movies where I'm fighting somebody, and you're only as good as the person you're fighting. You can be
That's
perfect punching somebody, but if they don't know how to take a punch and make it look real, then you look like a retard.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
One
it's
of
plain and simple.
One of my favorite people to work with when it comes to that is Braden.
Right.
Because we just know each other's moves and work together so well that, like the timing on this is really good. That we can literally get, his foot can literally touch my shirt, and at the moment I feel it, I know when to react to it on things.
So the scene in the car, we changed that where I get choked with the seatbelt. We changed that up on the spot simply because it wouldn't work, me and him fighting through a window. So I was like, no, this is how you're gonna do it, and then you're actually gonna, as we're fighting, you're gonna grab my hair, you're gonna wrap the seatbelt around my throat and choke me, pulling me out the window. I'm gonna do what? And I'm like, yeah, you're really gonna do this to me? He's like, but I'll hurt you. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. You're gonna make this real. And the next day I had bruises down my back and on my throat and everything, but I'd rather it look real and be sore for a few days than it look stupid. So we have real contact when we're fighting.
Yeah.
A lot of that. I don't mean to interrupt. I apologize, but a lot of that goes back to our stunt coordinator, Carl Ronan. He was awesome. He made sure that everyone knew what they were doing, made sure everyone was where they were supposed to be, made sure they knew how to fall if they were falling, made sure they knew how to react. And a lot of these fight scenes wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Carl. So Carl was an invaluable member of the TKO team.
He also was our gun specialist.
Yeah, we did
every
firearms
set.
checks. Every time there was a gun on set, we did a firearm safety check. And yeah, Carl is, I will not let anyone else choreograph my films except for Carl.
Suggestion, after one of your fight scenes, you should moonwalk out of it.
Nice.
I think that'd be a good combination right there. Just the end of the movie, I think. You should just take down the guy. That's your mic drop. It's just the moonwalk.
Just
Nice.
moonwalk out.
Right out.
I'm gonna have it happen.
I have a question, because
He does
first
what
time
I
I saw
did.
the purple unicorn vest type effect,
On what now?
on all the shots.
Okay.
Where'd that come from?
So it's supposed to be a blood splatter effect, but we were having some technical issues with the rendering, so it didn't render properly. We are going to get it fixed.
Yes. Okay. So anything that looked a little, has to get fixed.
Yes.
Would you, next time, would you use practicals instead of the effects rendering, or which do you prefer?
I prefer, just because there's been so many accidents in terms of firearms
Due to
on
safety of
sets,
the
I would prefer to use,
everybody.
because what we use is pump action airsoft pistols, and we just don't load them with anything. It's almost like the same as a Nerf gun, you pull it back and click it. And I prefer to do those because it wasn't maybe 2 years ago that Alec Baldwin had that accident on his set. And that just furthered my opinion, I don't want to use those kind of.
Yeah, they didn't want to use my stunt. I have the,
She actually does have one.
yeah.
But we started filming after the whole Alec Baldwin thing, and I was like, let's just.
Yeah, I think a lot of films and movies went that direction on that,
Yeah.
eliminated that after that happened.
I was actually, speaking of that, I actually was looking up, there's some guns that'll actually, they're fake just like what we're using, that'll actually recoil back, take the mags out, they actually slingshot bullets, the shells out, and using that on set would be perfect, and then just adding the sounds and the flame, you know, a little and I talked to him about it, that's what I want to eventually get a couple of, so we have more recoil instead of this, it's more realistic, you know, that's what I want to go for in the future.
Right.
I haven't seen those yet.
I'll send you the link, it's cool.
Sure you will.
I will!
Post it on Facebook.
Was there any scene that you would want to add or remove or change that, like if you had, you know, unlimited budget, or like if you just
Well,
had,
unlimited
maybe not
budget.
If we're talking unlimited budget, I would have liked to have shot this movie in like the Ukraine or Thailand.
Right.
And invest in a gimbal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please, yes.
Crane shots.
Crane shots.
Drone shots.
Drone shots, probably.
Okay, practical, Braden.
Listen, he said unlimited.
Like if you, or explosions, that's what I was thinking about.
Oh.
Yeah.
If I could have found a place to put one where it would have made sense with my story, then I would have been all for it.
Yeah.
But the way that the story was set up, I did it simplistic for a reason, because I knew that we were going to basically shoot this for $20 in a pack of gum.
Right.
So,
We could have blown shit up at my house, but there was just no way to work it in.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I see it with the explosion with you walking slowly away from it, not even looking
And
back.
not looking back.
That's
Yeah.
one of those classic 80s.
You saw I Spy.
Yeah.
Like you walk away from a strike at bowling.
yes.
Right.
100%.
Did you do the Richie Lifton wigs in the barn thing and you walking up as an homage to Roadhouse?
No, honestly, that was, that was
It's because all the babies.
No, that's exactly what it reminded me.
Okay, they filmed that, I was off doing something else, and they were up in the barn doing
That's
that.
what it reminded me.
and stuff. So,
For sure.
that's a hidden question, so.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Okay, because in the original script, he's sitting in a car going through the case notes, and I come up behind him when we have a fight, like right there in the middle of like an empty like gravel lot or something. And he was like, well shoot, why don't we just rework it, blah, 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 we'll do it here, we can get this easily. And I was like, all right, as long as it makes sense, I'm all for it. And so that's what we did. So then they went up there and shot that, and so if he says it's from Roadhouse, then yeah.
That's what it reminded me.
Perfect.
Any other questions?
So who's your favorite stunt actor?
Leo.
Bill Murray. You were my favorite, Leo.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Appreciate you. And overall, I mean, like I said, from the time I started bringing people into this, like November of 2020,
Wow.
and we just wrapped filming July of last year. So just to give you kind of an idea of the timeline. And most of what we filmed, give or take a handful of scenes, I was living in Virginia at the time. And so I was driving down here for like, one time I drove down here for a week, we filmed for like 4 days, and then I drove back. And then all the warehouse stuff at the end, I drove down here for a weekend. Drove down Friday, filmed Saturday. Or actually, no, came down Thursday, filmed Friday and Saturday, left to go home on Sunday.
Wow.
That was exhausting.
Yeah.
I bet.
Do that with a 2-year-old who's not used to to traveling like that. It's not fun.
And all the cats are scattered too.
What?
Yeah.
That's how I ended up, part of it, I believe, is when, one of the locations they were filming, due to the distance and everything, that a couple of your stunt men couldn't make it.
Yep.
And there was kind of a question between, who do we, Leo, that was in the area, oh yeah, we're happy to.
Be more than happy to die again.
Fun fact, we were actually waiting for some people to show up at the warehouse, and this guy all the way up until literally the day I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be there. The night before, confirmed, sent me a picture of him in his outfit, everything. And I called him, I was like, hey man, you showing up? And he's like, no man, I was stuck in the middle of the road, my car broke down. Meanwhile, I hear his dog barking in the background. So I was like, dude, you didn't want to show up. Just I was like, I didn't know Chihuahuas lived in the middle of the highway.
Oh, the other homage to Louis was, if you guys noticed on the rearview mirror of my car, the Jeep that's in there, that little doll with the faux hawk and the little peacock, that's Louis' little.
I mean, honestly, in terms of the whole movie, I mean, I'm proud of, full disclosure, that's the first time I've seen it fully put together, and I was really happy with how it turned out. But I was honestly really happy with a lot of the movie. There was a lot of different factors I was worried about, worried about getting to my mom's house so I could get sleep so I can drive back to Virginia. A whole bunch of different stuff I've been worried about, so I wasn't really tuned in on my acting side. But the last day that we filmed and we finished up, we had 3 locations in 12 hours.
Wow.
And we finished up every scene for that movie, and every scene that we shot that day was probably the day that I was most proud of my performance. And I think it was because I didn't have to worry about that because I was actually living here at the time. So I was actually able to focus a little bit more and just kind of enjoy myself. That, and I knew that, this is the last day. I don't have to worry about anything after today.
Next project is their next feature, and it is called Skin Circuit.
Technically, it's a dark deal before.
Sorry. So Dark Deal. Next project we're getting into production for, I meant.
Okay.
So right now they're in production of Dark Deal, which hopefully will be, last shoot date will maybe be April. Ish. We'll get there when we get there.
Pretty much.
Yes. And so a few months ago, Braden's like, hey Julie, I need help casting my next feature. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so he sent me over the script. It was a really good script. We started talking about budget and things like that. And I was like, we need to make this a much larger film than you you have it now, just because I felt like it's going to bring a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Awareness, thank you. Yeah, I'm like, I just said it the other day, so yeah, it's going to bring a lot of awareness, I feel like, because it is about human trafficking. And so I don't want to talk about the entire film. I want you guys to do that, but I was really excited to come onto this project just because I feel like it's a good cause to talk about, and it's something I will feel comfortable, putting a 16-year-old, kid in front of it to watch. And this happens in, every single day, no matter what town you're in, small or big town, or what country you're in. So, but I will be working as a casting director, which we officially have almost cast. There's some small little roles I'm still
full
working
main
on.
cast.
Yeah, full main cast. I'm just kind of slowly getting the other ones as we get there.
Yes.
And then I'm well, that's what we're trying to figure out. We're like, we're going to put Renee. I am working as a producer with Kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope is coming on with Ferguson Films and TKO Productions, which is really exciting. They're coming on with funding side of it, and so I'm working as a producer on that side, and then I'm also the AD for it. So I can't wait to be on set. Naomi is actually our camera operator for it and our DP. So if you want to come up here and talk, we would love you to come up. Yeah. I want to hear from you. No, I would love for you guys to take it away now.
Hey,
But
come through the door again, let's see it loses testosterone again.
The people watching this on YouTube are going to have no idea what we're talking about.
That's fine, we can explain.
Get up here, Naomi.
But if you guys want to go ahead and just kind of talk about, Braden, I know you talked about the writing of it, like what inspiration was, and that you have a point of concept for it.
Yeah. So Skin Circuit, I wrote about, I oh shoot, a little over 6 years ago now. Dang, time flies.
And that was your first feature you wrote, correct?
Technically my second.
Okay.
I went through like 6 drafts of one that never saw the light of day, and it probably never will, just because I write for me, and I wrote that when I could still play a high school kid, and my hairline has informed me that I cannot no longer do that.
I'll get you
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
It's not like you're in the beats yet.
Do it?
It's not like you're in the beats yet.
Fair, but I mean,
I got a razor, it can be.
okay, moving on. But I wrote it, so basically I was writing another feature and I was getting pointers from a producer based out of LA, and basically she made me feel like crap. Like, if I didn't have an answer for everything that she asked, like we had a video meeting, and because what I like to do when I'm trying to think about how I'm going to say something is I take a minute to formulate it in my mind.
A minute?
When I'm trying to be professional. So she's asking me a question, and I'm trying to think about how I'm going to explain this to get my point across. And if I took longer than like 3 milliseconds, she would just draw a giant red X through the entire page. And so after about 4 drafts of that, I was like, yeah, I guess this one isn't cutting it. But I purposely toned it down to it like a small town, because you got these big human trafficking movies take place in like Paris and Thailand and stuff like
It
that.
happens in small towns.
It does.
I mean, my story's set in small town Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So
We watched it on TV.
I do have a proof of concept on Tubi for those of you who want to check it out. It's kind of garbage, but
Proof of concepts. You gotta get it somewhere. No, yeah, I really feel like it's going to bring awareness to the topic. So people that do like, action films, they have that there, but it's going to bring awareness, to, I feel like every age. But no, because you did tone it down to a certain point, I mean, we're not going to talk about how everything happens, but, when I was reading, I was like, well, that's stupid. Why would she do that? But that's not common knowledge, I felt like, for everyone to know. And so it's good for people to learn that, and that don't do that, that is stupid, and so.
And there are certain things that I did do that way on purpose.
Yeah.
For that exact reason.
Yes.
Because I know there are some people, who do have, parents and guardians that care about them, like, don't do this, but there's also people who's like, hey, I'll be back at 10. All right, cool, don't die.
Yeah, yes. But I would love, so our cast, would you like to introduce, we know who you are, but would you like to introduce yourself as your character and kind of who you'll be playing in it?
Yeah, well, I came on for the proof of concept with the
Very last minute addition, by the way.
and played Detective Shepard in the movie, in which he comes to me about questions on certain things.
Literally asked him like a week and a half before we were supposed to do it. And then he did it, and I was like, I don't want anyone else playing this character.
When I saw who was playing it, I was very excited because I felt like you'll be able to portray this character well.
It's going to be really fun to be able to reprise that role,
Yes.
and knowing what I know now and have learned since, it's so much that I can create a lot more with on him. And I was just really happy and honored that he asked me to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I love the story, and even as a short of what I got back then, I've always loved that story. It was very good. And then when I got the full script here recently and I read that through, I thought, wow.
Yeah, fun fact, I actually wrote the feature before I wrote the short. So, like, I wrote the feature, and then another producer was like, hey, we should make like a proof of concept trailer. But I didn't quite know how to take those pages out of my script, so I was like, well, I'll just write like a little 10-page script and we'll shoot a proof of concept. And we did that.
Which was really good for the visual of giving the ideas with the story of.
Yes, but the feature's a lot more in depth. Like I tell people, if you saw the short doesn't even compare to the feature.
Kevin, would you like to introduce your character and who you'll be playing?
Yeah, I play the father.
Of who?
I don't want to give it all away.
Well, they need context.
Just put them on the spot. What if-
The kidnappee, I play the father, the kidnappee, and her brother, who, I'm not gonna give that away, should I?
No.
Okay. I play the father, the kidnappee, and the brother, and basically I'm the one who kind of turns and says, "Sick 'em," if you will.
It is loving, fatherly kind of way.
Yes, in a very, be careful, don't do anything stupid, you know, type of thing.
Basically,
Get 'em.
do what you can.
And that was the callback.
Yes.
I mean, thing.
Yes,
And
it
so
was. It was basically-
we had different people, you know, for the callback, and each
There were
person took
5
it.
people.
Yeah, and so and the thing is, like when he first looked at my clientele before it got opened up to the public, he's like, Kevin, and I'm like, okay. He's like just keep an open mindset, you know, like when we're, you know, continuing it. And you didn't know, and I'm not saying like anything, but and you know, there were some really good callbacks. He's like, okay, these people, and each guy took it differently of how that scene needed to be, because like you said, it's like sick 'em, but at the same time, it's an emotional scene, and so he had to figure out how to do that.
And you don't want to add to the tragedy.
Yep.
At the same time, you want to preserve what you have, but at the same time, you don't want to add to the tragedy. I mean, there is a thing of vengeance, but then there's also a fine line crossing that line from vengeance into, you know, madness and hysteria and whatever. And my character just doesn't want to cross that line.
Yeah. No, and I feel like you did very well at portraying that in your audition tape.
Essentially, he wants answers and closures.
Yep.
He doesn't want anyone further to get hurt.
Yeah.
He just wants the nightmare to end.
Agree. And then Naomi's coming on as our DP camera operator. I know that's not really. I know you never really describe your character, but I know this is like one of your larger projects you've worked on. How do you feel when stepping into this role this summer?
I'm terrified.
Honesty's good. No.
But I'm also very excited.
Yes.
Because I've only done like short films and stuff until now, so.
Well, wait a second. Do you have a gimbal?
No. I wish.
Hopefully the equipment will be receiving. Fingers crossed.
Mention was given for gimbal.
Yes. But no, yeah, we're super excited to have Naomi on the team. I know when we were talking about camera operator, because usually David does, you know, the directing, the camera and everything. And so as a director, that's hard, you know. Usually the director really just needs to sit back and see the vision together. Otherwise there might be things missed. And so we're like, we need a good camera operator. And our executive producer with Kaleidoscope was like, actually, what about Naomi? And we feel like, you know, you've got really good style, good vision, so I'm excited to have you part of the team and work with you for 2 weeks. Yes.
Chaos.
Chaos, literally.
Beautiful chaos.
David, this is your first time just like direct or sit back, like, are you gonna be like, I don't know, I feel like you're gonna be fidgeting the entire time.
I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll bring a director's chair for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He says that, but I feel like because he's used to doing everything, it's going to take him a minute to adjust to be like,
I think I'm gonna have to give him a seatbelt for the director's chair.
I mean, I do think it's not true that he will be enjoying the fact that he can just like sit back and supervise.
Yeah.
But I do think it will take him a minute to.
Ooh.
Make it big.
He had a little help in Double Cross, because I was the assistant director of that.
Yes.
So you didn't have, except when I was in the scene, I couldn't help.
That's true. Yeah. But I mean, I do think he will enjoy being able to just like literally just go sit back and supervise. But I do think
And
it'll
that's
take him a
good.
minute to turn it
Yeah. No, when I was like, I can't believe you're doing, for most of these projects, you're the director and you're the camera operator. So
And the editor.
And the editor, so like.
And actually
you have-
orbit.
Yeah, it's like you have to figure all that out yourself, and so it's gonna be so, I feel like I've never been just a director, and so like, I can't say for myself how it exactly is, but I think it'll be really nice for you to sit back, see the entire vision, and you'll see those critiques that you can make, rather than seeing it in editing and be like, how did I miss this, you know, so. I mean, if I had to get you a seatbelt for the director's chair, just to keep you sitting there, we can do that. I think we can put that in the budget.
Just keep reminding him of his back issues.
Get him a back brace and Does anyone have questions about Skin Circus? breaking it up, and then hopefully goal is to have it out before October around that time. We'll still figure that out. But does anyone have questions about Skin Circuit?
Can we film on my birthday so I don't have to go to work?
When's your birthday?
June 20th.
We'll talk about
We'll
it.
figure something out.
Yeah. I want to work on birthday. If not, that's okay. I just didn't know if there's questions. I don't want to overlook them.
I mean, honestly, that script is probably the one I've had the most fun writing.
Yeah.
And it's because
That sounds kind of macabre.
what do you mean?
Well, consider the subject matter. I'm just saying, oh yeah, let's connect people out.
It makes me sound enough. Yeah, that's right.
He can hold it.
No, but I mean, honestly, it was really fun bringing the story to life.
It's telling you to shut up.
It is whenever you're talking the longest. I'm going to be honest.
But I mean, honestly though, the story was a lot of fun to create. It kind of flowed because with my previous script, I was trying to write to what I knew I could get, and I later found out that that is a no-no when you're writing. You just gotta let your imagination speak, and so that's what I did, and it's honestly, I don't like to pick favorites of my work, but it is probably my favorite ones I've written so far. And I've already started writing a sequel just in case this one takes off.
I don't like some of the stuff that's already in there. I'm
Have you
like,
started reading the sequel?
you've been telling me stuff, and I'm like, why?
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about that.
Yeah.
My bad.
Well, I'm excited about everything, and I'm gonna be honest. Like, thank you guys for coming out tonight. I'm super excited.
Yeah,
to watch
this does mean a lot to me. This is my very first movie that I was involved from start to finished, and I mean, I hope y'all liked it. So
I thought you did very good.
Very
I appreciate it.
It's
It means a lot.
I was over here like, sure.
I did it for you.
You did it for me.
I did it for you.
Chaos right here.
I like all the leads.
We're talking about it.
What?
Fantastic.
Spill the beans.
Yeah, thank you guys. So we got tons of pictures, Naomi got tons of pictures. If there's any other, like, I can put the screen up. You guys can take pictures in front of there, the director's chairs. Let me know. But yeah, we really appreciate everyone coming out. We know people came, from everywhere, not just like I stayed over. We had people even from Virginia come out, so we really appreciate that. So no, we really appreciate everyone coming and supporting Braden and David's film, and cast and crew did great. I'm really happy with everything.
I really appreciate everyone coming out. I had to ask. Thank you.